All right, guys. So you took your Unit 2 test, and here is what the unit test had to deal with. So this is your report card, and on your report card, this is the math section. The first two portions of your report card, it just tells us how well you're doing with fractions. Okay, that was Unit 1. That was our Unit 1 test. The second part of your report card asks how you are doing with adding and subtracting decimals. So that is what the Unit 2 test is trying to accomplish, to see how well you are doing in these areas of adding and subtracting with decimals. It wants to know if you can recognize place value relationships, read and write decimals to the thousandths, compare decimals, round decimals, and solve problems using addition, subtraction, and decimals. And remember, I'm going to use the test to see if you have a 3, which means you mastered it, you're doing great, or a 1, which tells me that you are still at a level where you're not understanding it, and then a 2 is in between those two areas. You didn't master it yet, but you're getting closer, okay? So let's take a look at your test and try to learn from the ones that you got wrong, because next week, I'm giving you a test that's going to see if you improved in any of these areas. Okay, so from Unit 1 or Unit 2 before I make your report card. And the only way you're going to improve from a test that you just took before next week is by learning about the mistakes that you made. So let's go over the test to see if we can try to figure out the mistakes that you made. So let's go into, where are we at here? Here we go. Get rid of the marks. All right, so the first thing that I told you, if you remember correctly, I said we're going to see if you understand how to recognize the place value relationship. So those are the first couple of questions that I asked. So the first question says, can you select the number in which the 6 is 10 times bigger than this 6 right here? So this 6 is in the thousandths place, right? Because it's 6 thousandths. So the one that's 10 times bigger than that is, remember, every time a digit gets 10 times larger, it moves to the left. So if we were to put the 6 in the hundredths place instead of the thousandths place, then it would be 10 times larger. So looking at our options, this 6 is 6 wholes. This is 60. This is 6 in the hundredths places, what we were looking for. So that is why that has the mark next to it, because that is the correct answer. Whereas this one now is in the 10th place, which is 100 times larger than the 6 when it's in the thousandths place. This one says use the associative property. So if you remember correctly, when we learned what the associative property is, we learned that all that is telling us is, hey, you're allowed to rearrange what numbers you add together, which numbers you add together, and then if you rearrange it, it might help you do mental math. But in all reality, ladies and gentlemen, all you have to do is be able to add the 3 in any order. If you use the associative property, you would see that adding, so in all reality, even if you're using the associative property, adding those together first is the best decision. Because when you add those together first, you get 8. And then 8 plus 1.3 is 9.3, okay? So you didn't even have to use the associative property on that one because you're supposed to add those first anyways. But in all reality, you just add the 3 together and then you get your answer. And then the last one, once again, it's just having you look at a digit. It's saying, look at the digit 9. Which one has the biggest 9? Okay? This 9 is only 9 100ths. This 9 is only 9 1,000ths. This 9 is 9 wholes, and this is 9 tenths. So that's why that is your answer. It says choose. So now we're into the second part of your report card that says you know how to read and write decimals up into the thousandths. Choose the correct standard form for the following: 14,000 and. Remember what I told you. Whenever you see the and, pause. That means there's a decimal. So which one has 14 dot? None of them, 14,000 and. So 14,000 dot. Which one has 14,000 before the decimal? Only one of them. This is the only one that has 14,000 and 208 thousandths. 208 thousandths. So that is your answer. 14,000 and 208, and then you name it by whatever the last digit is on, the thousandths place. Choose this in word form, 6 and. So pause and look. Is there any that do not say 6 and? This one says 6 and, this one says 6 and, the top one does. This one does not, so you eliminate that one. Now it should say 84, and then it's in the hundredths place. The 4's in the hundredths place, so it's 84 hundredths. So it's this one right here, 6 and 84 hundredths. And remember, it's THS because it's on the fraction side or not yet a whole side. So that answer is that one. And then 9.635 in expanded form. All I want you to do is look at each digit and tell me what each digit is worth. So the 9 is worth 9 ones, which all of them say it's worth 9 ones. The 6 is worth 6 tenths, which only the top one says it's 6 tenths, 6 times a tenth. And then 3 times a hundredth, and then 5 times a thousandth. So A is your answer there. Comparing the decimals. So remember, the first thing that you do is kind of like putting an alphabetical order. The first thing that you do is look before the decimal. This one does not have a decimal. That means the entire thing is before the decimal. So 651 compared to 7. 651 is bigger than 7. So therefore, you're going to eat 651. We have 0 holes versus 0 holes. They tie. Let's go to the tenths place. You have 9 tenths versus no tenths. Therefore, that side's larger. That is your answer. We have 7 holes versus 7 holes. Okay. We have no tenths versus no tenths. Okay. You have 7 hundredths versus 7 hundredths. Okay. You have no thousandths versus no thousandths. They're equal. Okay. A lot of people want to say, oh, 70 versus 7. This one's got to be larger. No, it's just saying 70 thousandths. This one's 7 hundredths. They're equal to each other. There's nothing in the thousandths place. Therefore, it's like having a 0 in the thousandths place. Those two are equal. Let's round each to the nearest whole number. Right now it's 82, okay? But the decimal, the first decimal in the tenths place is a 7. So is it closer to 82 or 83? It's closer to 83. So therefore, if we were rounding it to the nearest whole number, it's closer to 83. So 83 is your answer. Round this to the nearest hundredths place. Hundredths is where the 4's at. So we got to get rid of the 8. Is the 8 big enough to boost the 4 up to a 5? Is it closer to 34 hundredths or 35 hundredths? That answer is 35 hundredths. And then what is this rounded to the nearest tenths place? Well, right now it's 8 tenths, but the first one going bye-bye is the 7. So would that mean, is it closer to 8 tenths or 9 tenths? And once again, it's going to round up to 11.9. And then the last part of your report card says the student knows how to solve problems using addition and subtraction of decimals. So adding these two together, you have to make sure the decimals are lined up. And when you add that, you put the decimals, you line them up, you do 7 plus 4, which is 11. So that means a 1 is going to be in the hundredths place. 8 plus 3 is 11 as well. But 8 plus 3, and then you have to add 1 more, right? Because that 1 that we carried over. 8 plus 3 plus 1 is 12, which is this guy right here. And then 1, do not just do this in your head. This is a bad idea. You got to write it on paper. 9 plus 1 is 10, plus another 1 is 11. So this one's still looking good. And then 5 plus 2 is 7, plus 1 is 8. So now this one down here is looking good, and 4 plus nothing is 4. So therefore, the bottom one is your answer. Do not do it in your head. It's a bad idea. This one, again, I'm not even going to pretend to do it in my head because I'm confusing myself. I got to be confusing you. Make sure you line them up and down. My other option is to use this, and you guys know how I write with a mouse. It's horrible. 3, oh my goodness, 0.24 minus 2.84. 4 minus 4 is nada. 2, I have 2, I lose 8. That's illegal. I have 12, I lose 8. That's 4. Keep the decimal lined up, and there's nothing left over. Therefore, that is your answer. And then last but not least, we got to figure out, not only do we have to add or subtract, but we got to figure out if we need to add or subtract. Henry rode his bike 3, and remember, the first thing I tell you guys to do is don't look at it like a decimal. Just try to figure out the operation, making it an easy number. So we'll call that 4, we'll call the other one 3. Henry rode his bike 4 kilometers to the mall, and then he rode it 3 back to the park. How much did he ride total in all? Well, 4 plus 3 is 7. So I would guess that that answer is 7, and I realized that I added. So now I use that with the hard math, the harder math. I wouldn't call it hard. 3.872.747. 7 plus 3 or plus 4 is 11. 8, 9, 16. ... 6. So 6.61 is your answer, which is right there. Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, I hope you use this video. I hope you go through, try to figure out the mistake you made and learn from it. If you learn from it, you're closer to indubitably. You're closer to indubitably. Next week, on the end of the trimester test, you are going to do phenomenal. You are going to fix any of the mistakes you made on this test, you are not going to make on the other test. And I'm going to be so happy to give you all 3s on your report card. All right. Thank you for watching, and good luck getting ready for next week's test. And that is where you can prove to me that you totally get this stuff. All right.